Please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And welcome to Jeanna Brown Podcast Smart Wisdom. My name is Jeanna Brown, your host, and today we have another great show for you. It is the time of year where this show is actually just timeless. So we love to talk about lifestyle, education, promotion, business, publishing, and entertainment. It could go on, but today we're going to talk with CEO Sabrina Morris, who is the lifestyle promoter. Welcome to the show.
Happy day, everyone, and thank you so much, Gina, for asking me to join the show and share with your audience.
Fantastic. Yes. We are on here and we just have a lot of fun, but I know that your expertise will really give some good nuggets to our listening audience. So get your notes ready, audience, because she is loaded with information, inspiration, and she will get you pumped up for sure, encouraged. So, the lifestyle promoter, you're the CEO of that of that company organization, and tell us a little bit about what you do, how you got started, and we'll take it from there.
Well, how I got started is an interesting story in itself. I am an enterprise architect. I would solve problems for a C suite executive. In other words, a lot of people say, "What's an enterprise architect?" No idea. The easiest way to explain it is whatever would keep a CEO or a C suite executive up at night, come in, solve their problem, move on to the next. So I was a very niche consultant. However, I was spending lots of time solving everyone else's problems and I was not focused on Sabrina. So much so, my doctor was asking me when was I going to pivot? When was I going to take more care of me? Many of you know that when you report into a C suite executive or you're at a director level or executive position, you could be the only person in the room, or the company will make you seem like they can't do without you. And if you take a vacation, all of a sudden you're not dedicated. Many of you
So
know what
true.
I'm talking about.
So true. Yes.
However, what happens is you run yourself down. I don't know how else to put it in a nice way. I can't do it. You just run yourself down. You don't take care of you. You need to take time for you. So I, like so many others, allowed that, "Oh, you're not dedicated if you want vacation," influence my decision not to take vacation. And when you don't take enough vacation, you don't take enough downtime to reboot, re energize, I don't want you to end up in the situation like I was where my doctor was asking me when I was going to pivot.
Mm,
So,
because you were overdoing it.
yes,
Yeah.
overdoing it.
And
I enjoyed it, actually, but
but
I also,
something was popping up in your health.
that's right, that's right.
So
And
he's
that's
like,
what I
what are
did.
you gonna have to change? Did he say or she say it was like slightly recommended, essentially recommended, or
I had an
how did
amazing doctor because you know that little paper thing that you sit on that crunches when you're waiting for the doctor to come in the room.
yeah.
My doctor was good. She slammed on that paper. She stuck her face in mine and she said, "Sabrina, when are you gonna quit that job?" Literally.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Uh-oh.
yes. So one day I was driving to an assignment in Seattle, crying out to God, the one who sent Jesus, tears and all. I mean, it was ugly. I timed it. I started crying as soon as I hit the car, all the way to the parking lot to get out of the car, and I had to fix my face because it was an ugly situation. And I asked God, I said, God, there's got to be something better than this. And about 3 days or so, he answered my prayer, and he had one of the ladies that I volunteered with at the church in Seattle. She wanted to show me something. And she said, Sabrina, I have something I want to show you. I was like, sure, I'll take a look. When she showed me I had the opportunity to travel the world and take shots like the one behind me and get paid to do so, or just travel and take shots and not spend a lot of money, I wanted her to shut up so she could sign me up. But I didn't do that. I wanted her to practice because we all need practice, right?
Right.
And the sad thing, I'm going to be honest with each and every one of you. I cried out to God. My doctor was begging me to make a pivot. God gave me the answer, and I was so loyal to a fault that I still stayed in corporate. Although I had this amazing opportunity right in front of me. Right in front of me.
So how long did you stay? Did you stay and phase out, or are you still there?
I've left. I have not done anything with corporate America for approximately 10 years now. And I remember my mother would be saying, she would say, baby, either you're going to do this business or you're not. Or you're going to crap or get off the pot, but make a decision. You asked for an opportunity. It was given to you, so take advantage of it. And it's important that I'm saying this for someone out there because you may have asked God for an opportunity and he wrapped it in a beautiful present or just put it right in your face. And why are you not taking advantage? I do not want anyone to make the same mistakes that I've made. So learn from my mistakes. When you ask God for an opportunity and he gives you the opportunity, go, move forward, pounce. Oh, I was going to say something very slang.
Go for it, girl.
Yeah, I was going to say do the thing, right? But
Yeah.
take advantage of the opportunity he has given you, especially if you know it's something that you asked for.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how that when you finally made the choice and the commitment to yourself, and then did your health improve?
Immediately.
Okay.
I didn't even know what it was called at the time. It's called chronic fatigue syndrome,
Mm.
where I would get up in the morning and wouldn't be able to function hardly.
Mm.
And the sad thing is, when I did take a vacation, one time I forced myself literally because I lived in Seattle at the time. I'm a nomad now. That's a whole nother story. But I lived in Seattle at the time, and right there, you can pop on a cruise ship and go pretty much to Alaska. One day
Mm.
I did that. I said, I'm going to go to work for half a day and then drive down to the dock and get on a cruise ship and go to Alaska. The, the interesting thing is it took me 3 days on that ship just to unwind.
Mm. I understand that completely.
3 days.
How long was the cruise?
It was 10 days. I learned a long time ago I can't do
10.
7 days.
So 10 for 3. So 7. So 7 you enjoyed, but 3 to. I had that experience once, but I only needed one day.
Oh, good.
I only needed one full day. I was like, I'm out. This is a wash. I'm gonna sleep, and then I'll bounce. And that was good. But 3, I mean, however long it takes, that's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
That you allowed yourself the opportunity to rejuvenate because you do have to replenish.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you got to replenish. So that's how you started to become the lifestyle promoter?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us more about where you are now.
Well, now I get to travel the world, take pictures like you'll see on my social media, anything that you see that I've photographed. Most of everything are my shots, unless you see a person in it. See a person in it probably was borrowed from something else. So now I get to travel. My nomad lifestyle was supposed, and I'm going to put quotes, to kick off in 2020, and we all know how that went, right? So I always tell everybody, don't give up on your dreams, no matter what comes up. You might get sidetracked a little bit, but get right back on focus to what you want to do. So now I'm a nomad, and being a nomad is a it's I can't even talk, right? I can't even get it out. It's a totally different way of living. And if you set yourself up where you can work anywhere in the world, you can play and explore a different backyard every day. So
Wow.
you get that chance to not you get that chance to unwind. Or if you're a foodie, go to your favorite city, work in the day, explore the food at night. If
Right.
you, yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways to take advantage when you have that type of flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the definition of nomad, because our listening audience may not be so tuned into the term, can you define it?
Yes. So that is someone that doesn't have like a physical house that they stay at and do the grind the whole year. So a
Okay.
nomadic lifestyle is one where, for example, I will book a particular, there are three different types of ways of traveling in the nomadic lifestyle. There's one way where you can get a camper, and I say a camper, I'm talking, it has a dishwasher, a big,
Like an RV
an
camper?
RV, yes.
Yeah.
And they even have it where people will even move your RV from one campsite to the other. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm not doing that right. I thought about doing that, but I'm not doing that right now. So that's one style. One lady that I network with, she does a van lifestyle where she and her husband, they travel in a van. It's not even an RV, and they go from place to place. That's
Mm-hmm.
one way. Another way, they have different styles of hotels that actually include kitchens and two bedrooms, full two bathrooms. These are nice because you can book them a week at a time, and you can book them back to back. So you can book one of those for, it's like a mini apartment. Think of it that way. You can book a
Mm-hmm.
mini apartment for a month, and then you go find you a place. Now I wash my clothes in Colorado. Okay, so I'll come back, wash my clothes in Colorado, and hit the next place.
Love
Many
that.
of you may like to get behind the wheel and drive. I'm also a driver, so I'll fly or drive or do a combination thereof. You can get behind the wheel if you know you're not gonna go to sleep or do anything crazy like that. Know yourself. That's all I'm saying. Know yourself. If you know you do good in 3 hour increments, drive 3 hours, maybe get lunch, relax, go to the next destination, and you can stay there for a week and then get back in your vehicle and drive to the next destination. So it's a totally different way of living life, pretty much.
And do you have any recommendations? Like, how are you generating any revenue? How are you making money?
There are many. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation in itself, right? So as an entrepreneur, if you have a desire to do something to generate income in terms of whatever business idea that you have on your heart, let's put it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is going to be a time where you're going to have to really, really focus and there may be some classes that you need to take to get yourself up to speed on what you're accomplishing. You can
Mm-hmm.
also start while you work your full time position. Now, I'm not telling anybody quit the job tomorrow. This is not what Sabrina's saying. I don't want to see, oh, Sabrina, I quit my job tomorrow. Now I don't have any income. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying get prepared for what you want to do in the future. I'll give
Preparation.
you, yes,
Yes.
preparation. Yes, yes. So, for example, when I worked for corporate, I was always doing other things. A lot of people don't even realize that I invested in real estate. They had no clue at all.
Mm.
So, and I did that because of my mother. My mother had us hanging sheetrock when I was in middle school. I was
What?
hanging sheetrock, mudding, taping, painting, and I was like, plastered in all the all the
Sheetrock
mud,
dust.
after you sand it down and you have your big old mask on. So I was like, Mother, why am I doing this? She said this. She said, Baby, if you know you don't like mudding and taping, then you can hire somebody to do it. But I guarantee you, they won't tell you it's right when it's not because you know how to do it yourself. That's the kind of person she was.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
so know the ins and outs before you hire so they can't pull something over on you.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
right.
So that's where you have the upper hand in a sense because you know how it's supposed to go.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, if you want to go into marketing and you do marketing 9 to 5 now and you want to start your own company, as long as you have a do not compete clause or you didn't sign any documents that will prohibit you from exploring getting your own contracts on your own, start develop networking, start getting the word out and do projects on the side, as they say. Start your side hustle early. So that way, when you want to pivot, that 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, many of us work from 8 to 8 or 8 to 7, does not become your only revenue stream. The
Mm-hmm.
goal is to have more than one revenue stream. Now, I know some of you saying, "Oh my gosh, Sabrina, you just talked about how you don't want to run yourself in the ground, and now you're telling me I need to start working another revenue stream on top of what I'm doing." There is going to be a small period of time in our lives where we may have to work a little bit longer than we planned. This is how I would recommend you do it. Instead of working 8 to 8, sometimes you have to push back and say no. If you're only being paid for 8 hours a day, you may have to just say, you know what, boss, I can't give you an extra, what is that, 4 hours a day, some stupid extra time a week. However, you're used to working that 8 to 8. So I would say do your 7 or 8 hours that you're supposed to do, that you're getting paid, and then spend that extra time instead of giving that time away, give it to yourself so that in the future you may be able to pivot and give more time back to your family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Build something on the side while you got that revenue coming in, and then you can transition or build up a nest egg or what have you. That's great advice. Great advice. Man, this goes really fast. I told you it does. We do have a few more minutes, but I want to talk a little bit about you're an author, right?
Yes, God gave me an opportunity to co-author a book with Matt Morris called Limitless Success.
Limitless success.
Yes.
All right. Limitless success. That's really inspirational and that'll get you really curious. Before you tell us a little about it, where can people get it?
You can get it on Amazon.
Okay. Limitless Success by Sabrina Morris.
Yes.
We'll have a description in the a link in the description as you listen to this wonderful podcast. Okay, so what is Limitless? Tell us. Tell us a little
So,
bit about some nuggets.
well, in the book, my mother was my best friend, my road dog, my buddy in life, and she transitioned to be with the Lord. And I had the
Mm,
opportunity to dedicate a portion of the book to my mother's memory and her wisdom. Now,
mm,
this was a woman that had wisdom about everything, and we would always tease her. All of her children, all of her, when she transitioned, all of her pallbearers were her sons. And I put that in quotes
mhm,
because she physically had two children. However, she had so many other children who thought of her as mother. And if you
mm,
tap any one of those guys on their shoulder and say that's not your mom, I wouldn't advise that because you may get knocked out. Those guys, they were very, very passionate about my mother. So she blew a lot of those myths away about single mothers raising men.
mm,
12 pallbearers and an extra stand-in. Those were all her sons. And
mm,
she impacted their lives in ways that it takes each and every one of them to talk about. Well, one thing all of us would do is tease her and tell her that even when she wasn't here, we could still hear her voice. And my mother was the type of person that said this: yes, baby, because she called us all baby. Yes, baby, I know I'm in your business. Now that that's established, she'd go and she'd tell you what you need. And all of her sons would be like, yeah, mom, tell us anyway, because if we may not need it now, we can file it for later. And
mhm,
we would always tease her about that. We're like, mother, it doesn't matter. Even if you're not here, we're still going to hear you. And we were all right. I
mm,
remember we were all talking after my mother had transitioned, about 6 months or so afterwards. And one of my brothers was saying how he was doing something that my mother would not be happy with. And he
mhm,
had a dream. And he said, mother came to him in the dream, was telling him, baby, you should do these things. And we were all laughing at him and saying, well, what did you do? He was like, what do you mean, what did I do? I stopped doing what I needed and do what I should. So in the book, my mother helped me past one of the toughest things that I ever had to go through in my life. And no one should ever have to go through that, but people go through it all the time.
mhm,
When I worked with the publisher said, you're not in a situation where you don't have material. You have so much material. Your challenge is going to be paring down what wisdom to share with the world. So what they recommended is for me to deal with the elephant in the room. What is the biggest challenge that I've always had to face, especially showing up as an engineer, showing up as a C-suite executive problem solver? What was the
mhm,
biggest challenge? And in the book, I talk about that challenge and how my mother helped me overcome that challenge.
mm. Thank God for mothers. They
Yes.
are the special, special people in our lives. And sorry you had the time ended for you, but you do have her in your heart for sure, eternally.
Hmm.
And she blessed so many other people with her kindness and giving. And her natural children allowed that space too for the others to come in, because that's not always an easy thing either. When you share your parent, you're like, listen, she my mama. Like, get your own, get your own. No, just kidding. But you know what I mean. That everyone was able to have that family environment, um, and that you honor that your mother with your book. And I'm sure there's more books to come. For sure, for sure. She has given us all a gifts, and it's a way to give the legacy, pass the legacy down through the
Hmm.
family, whether it's storytelling or events or overcoming obstacles or what have you. It's always good to put that stuff in print, and we can encourage just one more person to get through or see it a different way, that's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when was there a time when you used wisdom or someone gave you a wise advice? Can you think of anything?
Well, if we go back a little, we hit on it just a little bit when my mother said, baby, you need to crap or get off the pot. You're either going to do the business or not. I
Hmm.
think that was a very pivotal moment because it was in my face. Like you asked, you had an answer. Now you need to make a decision to take action. One thing my mother would always say, and it didn't quite register until recently, like in the last 3 years or so, where she would
Hmm.
say, baby, do something, even if it's anything. Do something, even if it's right or just do. And you have to be careful who you say that to. She knew that I give account to God, so she knew I wasn't going to go do something crazy that
Right,
God
right,
would
right.
be displeased with. I have to set the foundation for that because so that everybody's listening will understand. She would say, do something, even if it doesn't work out right, or it could be the wrong thing. And I would say, why would mother always tell me that?
Hmm.
That's because when you move forward, even if it's the wrong thing, you're going to learn from it. And you're going to say, oh, that didn't work. Hmm. Okay, let's pivot. Of course, you're not going to just keep, hopefully, you're not going to just keep doing the same thing over and over and expect something different to happen. You always want to pivot. And that's what she'd say. She would always say you can learn from anyone, even if it's what not to do.
I
Walking
love
down
it.
the street, you see somebody that's drunk, laid out, got the rats running over them. You can say, self, maybe I don't want to drink a lot and get addicted to alcohol. Maybe that's not the right lifestyle for me. I can see the result or the fruit of that type of lifestyle.
That's so true. That's so true. Oh my gosh. We got to wrap it up. This has been a great conversation. You've been fantastic. So let us know, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. Search for the Lifestyle Promoter. It should come up there as
Okay.
well. You can also reach out to us at support at thelifestylepromoter.com. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd be happy to help you.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Happy to help you. Thank you again for coming on. And we're going to transition real quick and talk about at the table, you guys, at the table. We know that if you've been a part of Gina Brown podcast, Smart Wisdom, we have our segment at the table. What is at the table? You see two tables here. One is a boardroom table and one's a kitchen table. And I encourage you to come and give your experience at home about being at the table. At the table. At the table is getting communication skills, learning, listening, sharing stories. And when you develop those stories and develop communicating at home, you can easily and more effectively do it when you're out in school or in the workplace, etc. So, if you have a story and would like to possibly have it aired on the broadcast, please email us at ginabrownpodcast@gmail.com. All right, you guys, we are wrapping it up. Thank you again, and appreciate you as always. Remember to like, subscribe, and share because I'm sure there's some nuggets here that someone would appreciate having. So will say so long for now, for now, for now, for now. I have just lost my thing, my subscribe now, and for now.